Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another UK Death Dealers interview. I'm the Brutal Commander, and today I am joined by Embodiment ahead of their EP launch and their headline show at Levels on the 31st of July. How we doing, dude?
I'm good, thank you. How are you?
Yeah, very good, man. Could we just get a quick introduction? Who you are, what your role is, and what flavour of metal does Embodiment play?
Okay, so I'm Harry. I do the vocals in Embodiment, and we play a very unique style of tech death where we remember that you have to write songs and not just play arpeggios really fast. Often refer to us being as we're just kind of like 2008 metalcore kids pretending to play technical death metal.
That's a that's a very good answer. I like that. Dude, it has been 6 years since your last release. Is that correct?
Yes, yeah, Palingenesis 2020.
Is there any reason why you've delayed releasing music between now and then? Is there some sort of vibe that's happened, or some sort of milestone that you've reached?
So the bulk of this material was actually wrote sort of between 2021 and 2023, and we had a few setbacks. Kieran unfortunately decided to leave the band. Not exactly sure on the year. I think 2-3 years ago. And then not long after that, just before we did the set at Bloodstock. Les told us he wasn't able to continue doing the band as well. So obviously, losing our bassist and drummer, we had to kind of rethink how we were going to do things. So kind of getting the material out kind of got shelved for the idea of like how we're going to restructure the band. And then we were actually ready to go last year with the end of last year with a lot of this with the single and some of the other songs, but our drummer got some work on a cruise ship playing drums for a cruise ship, and he was told us he was going to be gone for the first 6 months of this year. So ultimately, we made the decision to push the release back. You know, you don't want to release a load of songs and then not be able to go and play them live. We already had that last time with Palingenesis. We released, and then global pandemic forced us not to be able to go out and play a load of shows. Yeah, I don't regret it at all, because otherwise we would have been waiting years to release. You know, no one knew what was going on at that point. But yeah, we had this set of circumstances, you know, pop up on us. So it's just the way it went, unfortunately, for this one. But it's
So
here now.
how does it feel to finally have Cryptomorph coming out?
Oh, it feels amazing. You know, it's so good, especially like I say, because we've been sat on the bulk of these songs for a good few years now, and you know, just really wanted to get out there and really show people what we've been working on and how we sort of evolved up some of the sound. And it actually worked out quite well, because Sam joined the band, and one of the things we're really interested in, and one of the reasons why we're really interested in having Sam on board with us, is he used to front a band called Ascaris, like a black
Okay.
death metal band where he played guitar and do vocals. And that was great for me, because it was like another new dynamic that we could add in, where it was like, oh, we've got another vocalist basically who can add in. So it allowed me to sort of think about doing some things slightly differently. And then when Will came in, he'd come from like a brutal death background, but is also really interested in sort of like progressive and fusion music. So he added like some new elements and stuff. So it did work out for the best in the end.
Wow, that's really cool, man. I love how that's worked out, and that these guys have put a bit of a mark on the music themselves, have they? Or
Yeah, definitely. Like the songs were there, but they've come in and each added a few things. So for example, when Sam came in, I was able to rewrite some vocal parts with his vocals in mind and add in some crossover parts. I love it when a band has multiple vocals. I always think that it looks really cool on stage and it sounds really cool on the record. You know, I love like Nile, where they've got like all the multiple, you can tell where it's different vocalists, or like the old Bullet for My Valentine with the Poison, where you could hear like
yeah,
Jay, the bassist, screaming coming through. I always thought that was really, really cool. So I was able to add that. And then when Will came in, there was a section where I'd wrote some vocals, and then it sent off to him, and he came back with the drum part, and I heard what he'd wrote, and I was like, oh my god, you know, he's done this crazy blast section, and I was like, well, I'm gonna have to match that energy now, aren't I? And I ended up having to do some really, really fast vocals and push myself. So yeah, it's really cool to have both of them on board.
Yeah, that sounds awesome, man. So, Cryptomorph is the first release with Sam and Will. They've obviously brought that creative thing. Do you think that that has developed your sound as well, or do you still feel like you're very much embodiment?
Um, it- it's funny, really. In a lot of ways, this new material is more similar to the first release in terms of
Okay.
mindset than we did with Palingenesis. The vibe was to get darker, to get heavier, to get more technical. We were further into our like death metal, the faceless and decapitated and stuff at the time, really
Mhm.
trying to push that. But with this one, we sort of like looked backwards at some influences as well. And well, how can we bring back some of those, like, say we love our like old school metalcore stuff, Killswitch Engage and Trivium,
Oh,
and how can
yeah, I
we
love that.
blend that? Yeah, how can we blend that kind of stuff without losing this new kind of like tech death edge that we've added as
Mhm.
well? So it was finding a way to kind of balance, the past and the far past and bring those together. It's definitely an evolution of stuff that we've done before, but I don't think it's going to sound out of place alongside the old material. It doesn't. We've done some practices recently, and it definitely doesn't sound out of place slotted alongside that.
Yeah, nice. So the EP is out on July 24th. The
Midnight July.
title, yes, exactly. Wow, that's crept up.
Yeah.
um, what does Cryptomorph mean? Like, where did that name come from?
It's just a cool name. No.
Right.
It is a cool name, and
It is.
so the cryptomorph is he's always changing, he's always adapting and evolving, and we were adapting and evolving on this release. So, for example, the last release, Palingenesis, that was the idea of rebirth, and
Mm,
that really suited our. Like I said, at the time, we were sort of like figured ourselves out, and it was like a rebirth of the band, new art style, new logo and everything, so that fit that time. But then when I looked up, I was just trying to find some cool names for the EP, and I saw Cryptomorph, and I saw the definition, this creature that is always adapting and evolving and stuff. And I thought, well, that's what we're doing, is adapting and evolving. So yeah, that's where that name came from. It was also,
that's cool.
that is now the name of our creature. If you've seen him across our artworks,
Yeah,
that that he is called the Cryptomorph now. I always wanted to give him a name, but couldn't think of one. Eddie was just like a cool name for Iron Maiden, and whatever the Disturbed mascot is called and stuff. So I always wanted to give a cool name to him.
have a mascot. Yeah, that's awesome, man. And so you were saying like the previous EP was dealing with certain themes. So this one, I was sort of picking up things like the sort of themes of deception, manipulation, that sort of thing. Is that something that was influenced from like real life events or observations? Like, what's been influencing this EP?
Yeah, so even I sort of when I sat down with all the lyrics from all the songs, I sort of started to notice that pattern and theme running through the EP. It's just stuff I've watched and seen happen in the real world, whether that's not just happened to me personally, although some of it is personal, but what's
Mhm.
happening in the wider world at large. So for example, with as they spread their infection, the last song on the EP, I originally wrote that about I was watching a guy who was trying to tackle Scientology in America, and I don't know how much you know about Scientology, but it's quite a uh, I have to choose my words carefully here, but it seems to prey on people, and it seems to prey on their insecurities and stuff.
Yeah,
And this guy
yeah.
was trying to attempt to have sites shut down, and he was trying to combat, their influence and stuff. So that really, really interested me over the pandemic. I sort of got into watching his channel and getting into his content. But then there's a wider theme at large. There's so many organizations and people out there at the moment that are willing to do those similar sort of tactics. So it became more of an overarching theme, for
Mhm.
that one song. And then Jeopardy on Idolatry is about people that abuse their positions of power, whether that's celebrities taking advantage of their fans, or whether
Yeah.
that's managers or CEOs or whatever taking advantage of their customers or taking advantage of their
Mhm.
staff. For me, I had a personal situation in which manager had taken advantages of his position, so that's where I'd wrote it from. But I tried to make the songs applicable enough that everyone could sort of relate to them, rather than just being about like a very, very specific situation, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. And do you feel like do you like to put a message into your music at all, or? Is that
Yeah,
something you consciously do, or?
with this release in particular, I tried to get away necessarily from writing any songs. Like on the last couple, we've had some songs where I've wrote songs about, Terminator, or aliens, or zombies and stuff. And those kind of songs are still cool and they have their place. And in the future, if I'm, um, inspired to write one of those kind of songs, I will. But with these four songs, I wanted to try and get a bit more real, for lack of a better term.
Hmm.
And we got one about exercising demons, although it's a pretty thinly veiled metaphor for personal demons, And again,
Right.
that one's a very personal song to me because I've been struggling. I have a long-term health condition I've been struggling with, so I'd wrote it about that. But I didn't want to specifically write it about that. I wanted it again to be this kind of thing that people could listen to and be like, well, I've got personal demons that I've been dealing with, so they could relate to
Mm.
it as well. Again, I love bands like Killswitch Engage, and they've always been about like self-empowerment and stuff. So.
Mm. No, that's awesome. I love that you actually are mindful of trying to make it relatable as well. Like you're using your own experience, but making it a bit more adaptable to what everyone's experience. Because in the end, trauma and trials and tribulations, they all walk the same path, don't they? So I love that. I love that you've got that kind of consciousness going on there. That's really cool. Would you say there's any particular song on this EP that represents embodiment now?
Well, we tried to do with this EP because it was a short run time. We wanted to flex our muscles in like four different directions over the four
Okay.
songs. So there isn't really like one particular, they're almost like what is four ways we could show different things that we could do in
Mm.
ways that we've expanded as songwriters, and as a lyric writer. It was so yeah, there's not really like a specific song I could point to and be like, well, that is the kind of sound we're doing now, because all four songs have leads like different elements and different things going on. Jeopardy's like super fast and super heavy, and Beneath the Skin is a lot more melodic, and then Resonance Cascade is a bit more progressive, and then As They Spread Their Infection is got like a kind of stomp anthem thing going on with some like slam vocal parts as well. So I'd say the EP is more like a representation of what you could expect from Embodiment in the future, is that we are going to be this like varied listening experience.
That's cool. I think that's quite favourable. I'm personally quite a fan of that kind of approach with bands where it's like, oh, this one's a bit more heavy. Oh, this one's got a bit more melody. Like just that kind of dynamic and the variety. It's nice. I like that. So,
We
and then you
don't
get
we
to
don't
showcase everything that you're capable of as well.
Well, our rule is that there are no rules when it comes to like writing songs.
Mm.
There's never going to be a situation where it's like, oh, we can't do that because it's like not going to fit in with like what we do. It's more just like, well, can we do that but make it cool, like make it fit within what we do? Finn likes his like synth layers and putting all like synth
Yeah.
stuff in it, and it was like, how can we do that without losing necessarily the core identity of the band? So yeah,
Mm.
we try not to ever have like a restriction on, oh, well, we can't do something like that, we can't do something like that. With As They Spread Their Infection, I actually sort of challenged Finn because we went to go see Vil Val from him, um, and him. I've got a lot of these like stomp, stomp, snare kind of like drum parts in their songs and stuff. Lars beats is what I always call them, because Lars Ulrich does a lot of those in Metallica. And I said to
Yeah.
Finn, well, how can we do that in Embodiment? And I said, I bet you can't do that. I bet challenge you. Like, how can we? And we did it. We made it work, and that's what I mean about we don't restrict ourselves, and we don't want to like. We're not Bring Me the Horizon. We're not suddenly going to change into like a completely different style, or maybe we will one day. I don't know, but we're trying to keep that core identity, but merge different aspects into it.
Yeah, very good, man. Very good. Was there anything that challenged you in this EP, in the creation of the EP? Was there anything maybe musically that was difficult to get, or maybe there was like a vocal line that you were just struggling with? Is it, yeah, just anything that maybe surprised you?
The clean singing, I never thought I'd do that. Not because again we were like, no, Embodiment doesn't do clean singing. I was just not confident that that was something I could do. Wasn't something I'd ever really tried to do either.
Mm.
But when Finn sent me Beneath the Skin, I heard it, and I had the instrumental demo, and I sort of heard the part over it. I was like, oh, that would be really good if I could do something like that. And I sort of was like, oh, I don't want to do it. I'm too nervous, too scared to do something out of the zone that I've done before. So I tried writing something else over it, and it just sucked, like, because I'd already heard the part, I already knew what was gonna be good over it, and so in the end I was like, I'm just gonna have to put the big boy trousers on and just go and give it a go and see how it comes out. I actually went and recorded that. Previously, all the vocals I recorded with Finn, but for that song I went and recorded them with Sam, who's the vocalist for Ambrius, like a power prog kind of influence band, and I went and recorded the vocals with him because I was a bit like, kind of don't want to do this, oh, what if they don't like it? What if the
Yeah.
rest of the guys don't like it? So I did it with him and then sent the demo, and then Finn's like, wow, this is great. I think he had an inkling I was going to do something like that, but not how it was going to turn out. So yeah, that was the big one for me. And there's a couple of vocal lines on there that, in terms of the harsh vocals, that are a little bit different. I don't think I've ever really done a proper like pig squeal. Is this one's got some like super guttural pig squeals? Because I thought it'd be quite funny if people be like, oh, they hear the clean vocals and be like, oh, they've got a lot lighter, and then they'll hear as they spread and be like, oh, they've also got, you always hear that in interviews and stuff. Makes me laugh. This is our heaviest, most melodic release, yeah, and blah blah blah. And it's usually a load of rubbish, right? You listen to it, it's like the same old, or not. And it's funny because I can actually be like, no, this is our heaviest and most melodic release yet.
You mentioned that Finn does the production for you. Is there any advantage to having that in-house, or?
Yes, yeah. Well, I mean, in the case of Finn and I, it literally isn't house because we live together. So it makes,
Nice.
yeah, so it makes writing and recording, pretty easy because I can just go down the stairs and knock on the door and we can get going. And
Wicked.
it obviously cuts us a lot of costs going to somewhere to have to record it or whatever. We're open to the idea of going to a big studio or something one day, but recording at home has become the norm because it's just so expensive. But also, if being frankly honest, Finn is the mastermind behind most of the songwriting.
Okay.
He does most of the sort of bones of the songs, and we all kind of
Mhm.
come in and put our contributions over the top. That's how the writings worked previously. It might be slightly different on the next release now with Sam and Will coming into the fold.
Mhm.
But so it's good because he's got that kind of like creative control where he can like add in the part. He's hearing the whole song when he's like going to record a guitar part or something. He's not just recording it, not knowing that there's going to be like a synth line or there's going to be a reverb part or whatever here. He knows as he's writing, so it does allow him to kind of. That's why it all kind of blends together so well in the end.
Yeah, and it's not unusual for a band to have one person sort of lead, and then everyone adds their flavor in it afterwards. It's yeah. I think I personally think that works really well because, like you say, it brings that consistency still, and it just simplifies the process.
Yeah, I mean,
Going
like,
back and forth with a riff or a drum fill or something, it's like that's got to be quite. It's like making a puzzle, isn't it?
well, everyone's welcome to come and contribute what they want to it. It's just the way our dynamic has worked, and hey,
Mm.
don't fuck with what works, and it's been working for us. But obviously, Sam and Will are probably going to be bringing stuff to the table, and then it will get finessed in with how we do things. I'm looking forward to our next lot of writing and recording. It's going to be quite exciting.
Yeah. So when it comes to like playing new material live, how much work goes into getting such technical songs stage ready?
A lot, a lot. These songs are a nightmare. These four EP songs in particular are an absolute nightmare. We went and did a practice very recently last week, and the intention was to go out on this run of shows that's coming up next week and play all four songs. Uh, that's not going to be happening because one of those songs is very, very, very difficult to play, and we all sort of played it a few times, and it was like, oh dear, this is going to take us some more time to refine down, and get right because we want to make sure we're playing it, to the standard that it was recorded at. So yeah, it's tough to get it all totally perfect. Yeah, well, or as perfect as a human can get it. At
And
the end of
and
the
did
day,
it,
we understand.
and were you surprised at how it translated into the live version, going from studio to live?
Yeah, I mean, we have actually performed two of these songs
Yeah.
live before. because we did do like a couple of shows last year, and we kind of like snuck in like one or two new ones into those shows that we did last year, just to give them a bit of a test run, to be like, you
Yeah.
know, how is this gonna work before we think. I don't think I think we'd recorded all of them. We might not have even recorded them at that point. But yeah, it's been good though. When we played them live, it felt good. It didn't feel bad. So that was how we knew, like, yeah, we definitely wrote like a good batch of songs here that translate well live as well.
Nice. And you've played Bloodstock, Tech Fest. You've toured with a bunch of huge names. Is there one show that still sticks out as like a career highlight?
Oh, I always like this. So I've kind of got two answers here, which is like, one is like my own personal highlight, which was getting to support Black Dahlia Murder, because they are just like one of my favorite bands of all
That's incredible.
time. Trevor is like it was unfortunately, rest in peace to an absolute legend, was like the standard for me when it came to like these kind of like death metal heavy vocals and lyric writing. His lyric writing was incredible. You know, you could tell stories. It was like listening to like a poet, you know, but like a death metal poet. It was
Yeah.
fantastic. So getting to support them, and it wasn't just like supporting them. When I arrived there, Trevor was so friendly, and well, the whole band was so friendly, and they watched our set and they get to know us. It was a great night. And when Black Dahlia Murder were playing, I was stood with Jason from Ingested, who was a vocalist at the time, and I'm like, man, I'd love to get up there, you know, crowd surf up there, and he's like, well, just do it, and he starts like, you know, and up I go, I crowd surf up, and then Trevor hands me the mic, and I did like a line in the song. I was just like, you know,
Oh,
and then in terms of like weird shows that we've done, you know, shows that are or memorable. I don't know if you know, there's a YouTube show called The Big Les Show. It's like
yes.
quite a yeah. So we actually played a personal show for The Big Les Show where they came to Bristol and they premiered new episode for one of their seasons, and basically a screen came down, it played the new episode, the screen came up, and then bam, we were on. I will say the room cleared like immediately because yeah, I'm not sure everyone there was ready for a death metal band just
Was
to
the right
start
crowd.
playing. No. I think people just there to watch some cartoons and do their thing, and then all of a sudden there's this death metal band, and it was quite sudden as well. Like, I'm not kidding. The screen came up and bam, there we were. We just started playing. But like we had the Big Les Show guys were there. They would like running round and going nuts, grabbing the microphone and doing quotes from the show over the breakdowns and stuff. That was just a really funny show. It's a really surreal show as well. You know, I never know quite how to say to people, "Hey, we kind of supported the Big Les show," and they're like, "What the hell does that mean?" And
Well,
well, it
not many
happened.
bands can say that, so.
No, and the worst part is as well is no footage. Didn't get any footage of it because we were just in the moment, you know, and just
Yeah,
enjoying it. And looking
yeah.
back, I really well. You can probably see it. Big Les show up there. That's the
Oh,
poster we got
yeah.
from it.
Sick.
Yeah, it's quite faded now. It's like 10 years old, but yeah.
I love that you keep them. Are they all embodiment posters?
Yeah, these are all embodiments. We got like one of the first shows we did when we played with Suffocation. There's Scaris, that's Sam's old band. We got there, and I got some more on the wall. If we play and I see a poster, straight off the wall, straight coming home. You know,
Nice.
memories.
And speaking of playing, you're going to be playing next week at Levels. When was the last time you played London?
I can't remember. I think
Been a hot minute then.
whenever this I think whenever this Suffocation show. No, we have done. No, we have done one since then. We played with Waterlines.
Oh,
Played a show at New Cross Inn with them a couple of years ago. That was pretty good.
so it's been at least a couple of years then.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah, I would
awesome.
say that was two years ago, maybe.
Wow. So London's in for a treat then. For anyone that hasn't seen you live, what could someone expect from an embodiment show?
Best damn show you've ever seen in your lives. So
Absolutely.
you know, you can expect we're there to have fun at the end of the day. You know, the kind of metal bands I loved the reasons one of the reasons I loved like the Black Dahlia Murder is they were smiling, they were having fun, they were
Mhm.
enjoying themselves, and that's the energy we want to bring. We're smiling, we're having fun, we're enjoying the music that we play. We're not there just to be super brutal or be disingenuous. I'm not that guy, and if you are, fair enough, but I'm not. We're kind of like nerds and geeks for the most part.
Right.
I like cartoons and anime and stuff, and that's it. I get up on stage, do my nerdy thing, and have a laugh, and I want you to have a laugh as well. So it's been a lot of fun. That's laugh at how silly technical the riffs are, laugh at how brutal the vocals are, and then now we've got this new element. You can have a sing song as well. If you like your sing song in as well.
Nice, nice. And you're going to be touring with Kill All the Gentlemen. Was that your choice? Was that set up for you, or?
They actually reached out to us and they were like, "Hey, do you want to go out and play a few shows?" And we've been working with DC Sound Attack on booking shows,
Mm.
so passed that along to them, and then they did their thing, and I think they're with Mosaic
Yeah,
Music,
Mosaic. Yeah.
and yeah. So Mosaic and DC did their thing, went and booked us up some shows. I haven't seen them for some years, but I do remember Kill All the Gentlemen. I'd seen them a few times before. I remember thinking they were a pretty damn good band. I think they had Mammoth Fest a long time ago now, and
Mm.
remember seeing them. So when I saw the email, I was like, hey, these guys are good, and I'd like to go out and play some shows with them, 100%.
Yeah. So, if you had like a message for the underground metal fans, how would you put across the best way to support underground metal in 2026?
Engage with your favorite artists. Tell your friends. Like it's not just a case of like post on Facebook, but speak about it, be passionate about it, get out there and go to the shows, get to know people at the shows, speak to other people. Like, don't be afraid to engage in what is supposed to be a community environment. That's what it always was for me. That's what I loved about this kind of music was that it,
Mm.
it didn't just feel like, hey, I listen to metal and it's just the music or whatever, but it was this sense of like, I listen to metal and we've all got this thing in common and we can all
Mm.
bond over that as well. And that's going to be the best way. It's just like engaging with your community and I'm not going to sit here and be like, go and spend all your money on metal merch and CDs, although it would be
Mm.
nice if you did buy our new shirts and CDs. But like, you don't have to spend money with it as well. That's just one aspect of it. Obviously it helps the bands, but talking about it and being part of the community is ultimately what attracts it to more people and gets it more attention.
Yeah. Yeah. I definitely think that's the best way of just engaging with the scene itself.
Yeah, I mean, you can, there's plenty of cheap enough shows. Again, I don't want to like stress on because now everyone's got the spare money to spend on it, but you, rather than spend that £10 on a pizza or a McDonald's or whatever, take it, go down to a show, get to know some people, make some new friends, and I'm sure you're all gonna have something to bond over. You're all there for the same reason, right? To come watch some metal, so come bond with
Absolutely.
the community. Like if everyone's friendly. There's none of all this toxicity stuff. That's all just exists online. I've never really met people at shows who are like that. I don't think those kind of people really go. I don't think they go outside, let alone go to shows. You know what I mean? Like,
I go as far as to say that going to an underground metal show is the easiest way to find a friend. You could go
yeah,
alone and you'll walk away with at least knowing someone at the end of it.
you see a shirt and it's a band you like, go up to them and be like, hey, nice shirt. I've had that so many times, and then those are people I've continued to speak to for
Mm.
the next 10 years of my life, and just over the fact that they came up and they're like, hey, sick shirt. I love like Black Dahlia Murder. I love, whoever you've got on. And then it's just opens it's like I say, it's not just music, it's a community thing as well.
Yeah.
In this day and age, that's getting harder and harder to find, outside of online interactions, which can be great, but they can also just be shit and not enjoyable and like I say, toxic.
Yeah.
So getting out there and just engaging with the community is a great way to go and find those real ones who you want to make friends with, and they want to make friends with you as well.
Absolutely. I mean, we're all there to just have a good time, so you're gonna find good vibes at every show.
Yeah. Like I say, those type of people you see online, they're all like that's not real metal, or I don't like those bands, or whatever. You know, I don't like some bands, but like those kind of people, they don't go outside. They don't
They don't
exist in
go
the real
outside.
world.
No, no,
No,
absolutely.
no, they just stay at home and be miserable. Like,
That's yeah,
fuck
it's sad.
them.
Are there any extreme metal bands in the underground at the moment do you think deserve a shout out, or that you just, you know, that you've made friends with and you think, yeah, they deserve someone that's listening today to go check them out?
Oh, there's just there's literally too many bands to listen
Give me
to.
three.
There's too
Give me
many.
three.
Okay, so Infected Dead, they've just released an EP recently, technical death metal from the UK. Fantastic, fantastic stuff. Saw them live recently as well. Great fun. Um, go check out Kill All the Gentlemen. They're a fantastic band. Maybe you could come see them live. Maybe you could come see them live in London soon with us. Um, God Eater, they're good lads, good friends of
Oh,
ours,
yeah.
Scottish band, like technical death metal band. I'm not sure how long ago they put out material now, but the last album they put out was great as well. So there's three, but again, I didn't want to give any specific shout outs because there's a wealth of it now. There's so much you can go and engage with. You know, the stuff I'd like to shout out here is stuff like the technical, melodic, progressive death metal. I can't remember if that's the full title of it, but death metal sharing group on Facebook, and they've also got a Discord group as well. You can get on there. You can find hundreds of bands every day. People are posting about this or that, and all different styles and all these different things. So there's so much out there. You know, again, community stuff. Go engage with it because you'll find new bands through that as well. You know, don't just necessarily have to rely on Metal Hammer or Kerrang or whoever pumping out whatever band, you know, and no hate to them, you know, there's plenty of great big bands on there as well. But if you want to find where the other stuff is as well, that's where it is. It's on like Tech Death Reddit group. It's on the Tech Death Discord page and Facebook group and stuff. Get on there because there's so much going on. I could give a shout out to a band I found through there recently. I don't even know where they're from. Maybe France or yeah, they're from France. Called Xenosis. Xenoosis just put out an album recently. I've been listening to that every day. It's fantastic. It's like
Out.
the new Faceless album that we never got. That's how I've been describing it. It's absolutely fantastic. I never would have found that band if it wasn't for the Discord group. Like so,
No.
yeah. That's
So there's loads of community out there for people to join, get involved, find new talent, support scenes, and just yeah, there's a little bit of there's a place for everyone to get involved, isn't there? Yeah, that's awesome, man. I'm so excited for the 31st of July, dude. It's going to be an amazing show. Um, yeah, thank you so much for taking the time to interview today. I'm looking forward to tomorrow. Everyone, well, actually, I'm hoping if I can get this word edited tonight, this will be out on the 24th of July, the day that the EP is out. So go and stream Cryptomorph right now, and we'll see you on the 31st of July at Levels in Hackney. You got anything to
looking
say?
forward to it.
Yeah, awesome, man. All right, then. Well, thank you so much, dude. We'll see you then.
No worries. Thanks. Cheers,
All
man.
right, take care.
And I'm
You
cleansed.
interview well.